seems to be birth certificate mania today, doesn't it, folks? America's Evil Genius back with you here, and I know that I'd mentioned I wanted to talk about Herman Cain a little bit. Well, we're going to do that next week because this was one of those days in the news media and the political world that just kind of defied description, really. I mean, it was... I don't think you could have written a comedy and done it more funny than what we saw today, or more hilarious than what we saw out of the punditry world today. So I wanted to talk about the birth certificate thing and Obama bringing that out ostensibly to shut everybody up, and it really didn't shut everybody up. Instead, it got everybody talking. So I'm not sure that he got the intended effect out of that. So I wanted to talk about that in reference to Donald Trump, particularly since we talked about Trump in our last episode, and kind of fit all that in together. First of all, an explanation for the hockey jersey here. I know you don't ordinarily see me wear that, but Boston Bruins jersey today. As I tape this, we're just a couple of hours away from Game 7 of the Boston Bruins and Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup playoff series. Go Bruins! There are very few things in this world more obnoxious than the Montreal Canadiens or their fans. So go Bruins, go Zdeno Chara, put them away. So had to get that out there just for the support factor of it. So wanted to talk about the whole birth certificate controversy a little bit more today. I know I glossed over it last time, and specifically I wanted to talk about my reaction to it and how that kind of changed throughout the day. I had one opinion going into today, and then here, as the day has worn on, I've kind of altered where I'm going with this a little bit. My first thought when everything happened this morning, and for those of you who didn't see it unfold in real time, let me just kind of briefly describe what happened. The word had gotten out that Barack Obama was going to finally, at long last, after 2 years or however long it's been, was going to uncork his birth certificate and was going to show it to the world. And if you recall, when I did my last presentation on Donald Trump, I told you that, to me, for my money, the birth certificate thing isn't a big deal. I don't really care one way or the other. There are a bazillion reasons to oppose Barack Obama, and until I really see any sort of proof that he's not born in this country, I don't really care about the birther stuff. Donald Trump does not concur. He's been hitting that pretty hard. He's been striking that iron quite a bit. And so when Obama had let it be known that he was going to have this press conference to unleash this thing, Donald Trump, I got to give him a little bit of credit for this. Say what you will about Trump, but the man's a master showman. He upstaged Obama. He hastily put together a press conference about a half hour before Obama was going to go on. And he flies in on this helicopter, you know, and gets out of the helicopter and approaches the microphone and just kind of steals all of Obama's thunder. So in that respect, in terms of pure showmanship and beating him to the punch and upstaging him, I kind of say it was well done. So you got to give him some credit for that. But at the same time, as I heard Trump's speech first, because he went on first, my first thought was, who in the hell was advising this guy? Remember, I told you all along last week that I don't care about the birther thing. I care about substantive issues, and for my money, as of last week, Trump really hadn't shown me much in terms of substantive issues beyond the economy. And he's very good on the economy, he's very good on business, but I hadn't heard very much out of him on, you know, what we're going to do overseas with the military and the wars that we're in. I didn't hear him say very much about true conservatism. I know that in the past he'd supported single-payer health care. He really hasn't answered for that. So for my money, I was never going to support Trump until he could answer those questions. And so I'm hearing him talk today about, well, I'm glad he put the birth certificate out there, and we're going to look at this, and I hope it comes out fine because this question needed to be answered. And then he goes on to say, now we're going to look at his transcripts from college, and let's get his college papers out there, and let's look at those. And I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, oh, for crying out loud. What's the point? What's the bloody point? I don't, you know, I don't care about the birth certificate or the college records or anything like that. It seemed almost to me that Trump was going the route of trying to prove that Obama's not qualified to be president, but really if you look at the last 2 years and you look at Obama's track record and what he's tried to do, that in and of itself tells you that he's unqualified to be president. Point being that Donald Trump or nobody else needs to come out here and you know, say that there's not a birth certificate or show that there aren't college transcripts to do any of that to prove to us or to prove to me that Barack Obama is not qualified. We already know he's not qualified. Look at his freaking track record. And so that was essentially, that was kind of disheartening to me because, you know, I personally, I want to dismiss the silly games and let's go at Obama on the issues, because I've said all along, if we focus on the issues in this election, whoever the candidate is, then we beat Barack Obama, hands down. And you hear all the time that the American people are saying, you know, we want a campaign to focus on the issues and not this mudslinging and not all of this personality stuff. Well, it strikes me, and I don't know how true that really is, but people say it anyway. It strikes me that 2012 could be the one election where Republicans and conservatives mainly could run on the issues, could run on Obama's record that he's put forth on what he's actually done in the job, run on the issues, and beat his ass. I mean, it wouldn't even be close. I'm not telling you it would be Reagan versus Mondale, but it wouldn't be far from that. I mean, it would be an ass-kicking of biblical proportions. So that's why I've been so gun-shy, if you will, about this whole birther stuff and let's get his college transcripts and all this. If you wanted to put those questions out there in 2008, I could have understood it. Because at that point, we didn't know who Obama was. He came virtually out of nowhere. Never really looked like he had a real job of any sort, just a community organizer and a political hack. You know, so I could understand it then, but now this guy's got 2 years of a track record. This guy's got 2 years of taking positions on the issues. It seems to me, if you just put his record up to the light, he has no retort for it. He has no response for it. He gets beat hands down. So I really questioned, even before today, Trump's willingness to engage in all of this peripheral stuff that to me doesn't really mean a damn. To a lot of the American people, probably doesn't really mean a damn either. So I suppose I was a little bit disappointed in Trump's continual pursuit of this. And then when the birth certificate came out, or I should say when a birth certificate came out, no one knows if it's real or not, but when a birth certificate came out that Trump's then saying, oh, I want the college records now. Okay, whatever. But then I started thinking about it a little bit more. And I started thinking about it a little bit more deeply. And I thought of this beyond just the face value of it. I looked at the big picture. Let's think about this. Donald Trump can put whatever questions he wants to out there, raise whatever concerns he wants to, make whatever statements he wants to, and there's nobody that can shut him up and nobody that can stop him from doing it. So if I, as a Tea Party or as a voter, as a conservative, wanted somehow to shut Donald Trump up and get the discussion moved back towards the issues, there's no way in hell I could do it. The guy's got more money than Fort Knox. He's got the media at his beck and call. If he wants to make a statement or he wants to raise a question and he wants it put out there, it will be put out there at his choosing. So nobody can stop him from doing that. Likewise, the Tea Party movement couldn't stop him from doing that if we wanted to. The Republican Party couldn't stop him from doing that if they wanted to. Hell, at this point, I don't think the Republican Party and the RNC could organize a 5-year-old's birthday party, so much less get Donald Trump to shut up. So the bottom line is, he's going to be out there no matter what we do. And no matter what anybody says. And really no matter what public opinion is about it. So I started to think a little bit more. You know, if he's going to be out there saying this stuff anyway, maybe, just maybe there's a way, since we can't shut him up and we can't stop him, maybe there's a way that those of us on the extreme right could somehow take advantage of it. Now, What do I mean by that? Because that I'm sure that sounds nuts to you. And it almost sounded nuts to me when I said it, but I kind of got to thinking. Look back to what I said earlier. When Obama put this birth certificate out there, it was supposed to shut everybody up. It was supposed to end the controversy, but it didn't. It only added fuel to the fire. I would go so far as to say that with this document coming out there, that really I don't think very many people changed their opinion about it one way or the other. I know I didn't. I suspect that all the people that came in today saying that he was born in the United States, I suspect they're the ones saying, okay, there's your proof, now can we let it die? And I suppose all of those people who had doubts before probably still have doubts. In fact, I know even on the internet today there's been some things going around about, well, if you take the PDF file of this and you run it through Adobe and you run it through Photoshop and you take a couple of layers off, it shows that it's probably a fake. I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. I'm not a computer nerd. I'll let you computer nerds figure that out. I don't know. So, point being, no one really had their opinion changed today, but it got a whole hell of a lot of media attention. Now, could that work to our advantage? Well, on the face of it, probably not, but let's think about this further. I have been saying all along, and I said it last week when I talked about Trump, that, and I said it 5 minutes ago on here, that we need to focus on the issues. If we focus on the issues, we beat Barack Obama, period. You're familiar with my stance on that by this point. However, let's take a look at the media. Do you think that the media is going to allow us to simply focus on the issues? The last 2 years would show that they won't. I mean, every time the Tea Party tries to focus on the issues and they start talking about smaller government and cutting spending and things like that, it's not but a day or two before some media outfit comes out there with some proof that somebody's racist. And so they continue to use the questions of racism as some way to distract from our talking about less government and our talking about our principles and the founding principles of our country. I've always thought that's a very deliberate tactic by the media to frame us as racist or frame us as extremists instead of talking about the issues. And you know, if you look back just through Obama's presidency, when he tries to go on the issues, he gets his ass kicked. I mean, he put all of his chips behind health care and infuriated the majority of the American people. He mishandled the BP thing. You know, the Libya thing didn't work out so well for him. The budget thing, he's getting his ass kicked on. The American people do not like his reactions when he goes to the issues. So the media, in order to protect him, knows that they have to go to emotional ploys. And they have to do anything but talk about the issues in order to protect him. So, point being, no matter how much we talk about the issues, and by we I mean the Tea Party and the modern conservative movement, that kind of thing, the independent voters, when we talk about the issues, it won't matter because the media is just bent on talking about racism or the birther stuff or class warfare, any of those things. That's what sells newspapers, that's what sells magazines, that's what gets TV ratings, that's what gets blog hits. So that's what they're going to do anyway. So I got to thinking about this. If they're going to do that anyway, if they are looking for an excuse to go after the birther thing or to go after the racism or to go after any of the other things that they want to lay at the feet of the Tea Party, then maybe Trump's the perfect guy. Not for us to support, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I support him. But maybe he's the perfect guy to be out there in the media and deflect all of that. Think about it. The media, in my estimation, has a real vested interest in protecting Barack Obama and a vested interest in destroying this uprising of the Tea Party and the independent voters. We're a fly in their ointment. I mean, they liked it better back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s when the independent voters were kind of disconnected and, they didn't really pay day-to-day attention to politics and, they'd show up and vote every once in a while, but they could kind of be led. They could kind of be treated as sheep. And they don't like the fact that the independent voters have grown out of that now. that this new breed of independent voter does pay attention. They do hold the feet to the fire of the politicians and the media. They don't like that. So they're trying to end it. And they're trying to end it by discovering or inventing someone to be essentially a leader of our side of the aisle, and then assassinate the character of that person, and then hope it'll make us go away. And under the old school version of politics, that would have worked. In the old school way, you had Republicans, you had Democrats, and you had a top-down leadership structure in both of those parties, and still do, that if the leader of one of those parties got a bunch of egg on his face, then it affected everybody else within that movement. They're working off that template. But the good thing is with the Tea Party and the Independents and the Conservatives that, you know, we don't have that top-down structure. We're kind of like herding cats. We're all over the place. So you can't really gather a leader somewhere and assassinate their character and make it reflect on all of us. They tried that with Sarah Palin. From the day that Barack Obama got elected, they tried to assign Sarah Palin, to assign her to a leadership role in the Tea Party movement, or the Republican Party. They tried to make her the next prospective assumed presidential candidate and set about to destroy her character and destroy her family. And they have put Sarah Palin through hell. They are a large part of the reason that she gave up the governorship of Alaska, because it was costing her and her taxpayers up their money to defend against the frivolous lawsuits that the media kept bringing against her. So they really did a Palinization of her. It almost became a verb. Trying to assassinate her character and then, you know, move that towards us. Likewise, Glenn Beck, they tried to do the same thing to him. They're trying to ruin the life of whoever would be considered our leader, but we've been smart. We haven't assigned a leader. We haven't assigned, you know, any sort of following status to anyone. We are our own leaders, so that doesn't work so well. But yet, they're still looking for that one face of the right, that face of the Tea Party movement that they can impugn and destroy, and then hopefully, in their minds, destroy us. Maybe that makes Donald Trump the perfect decoy. Not that we follow him, we clearly don't. But if he's going to go out there and play to the stereotypes that they have of us, and he's going to be the red meat for them, they can go out there and try and Palinize Donald Trump all they want to. It won't matter, because he's got more money than he'll ever need. He'll have a career tomorrow morning. They can't destroy Donald Trump's life. As much as they'd like to, they can't destroy it. So if Donald Trump can serve as the fodder for the media and serve as the distraction for the media and let them get their jollies by talking about birth certificates and all this other stuff, then let them. Because I've said before that I believe a majority of the American people want to talk about the issues. So if the media gloms onto Trump and keeps pushing this stuff and pushing this stuff and pushing this stuff for the next 6 or 8 months, the American people are going to tire of it. The American people are going to turn on the media. It's not going to take much for them to do it. And then that's when we come in. That's when we come in with our candidate. Maybe it's an unknown candidate or a new candidate. Maybe it's an Alan West. Maybe it's a Herman Cain. Maybe it's a Marco Rubio. I mean, all the options are on the table right now. But at that point, we come in and we actually start talking about the issues. And we start talking about the record. And so we allow Trump to buy us the time, because if we do it right now, it's not going to matter. If we come out here with a candidate right now and start trying to talk about the issues, it won't matter, because the media won't allow us to do it. They're going to go to the birther stuff. They're going to go to the racism stuff. They're going to go to the class warfare. No matter how irrelevant it is, they're going to go for it anyway. So if they're going to do it, let's use Trump. Let's use Trump as a battering ram. Let's use Trump as a decoy. Let him do it on him. He's not associated with us in any meaningful way. He's not associated with the Republican Party even. Let him try to assassinate his character. It won't work. But let him play that capital on him. And then we can move in once the American people are sick of it. And we can finally talk about the issues, and the media will be powerless to stop us. We can focus on Obama's record and how deplorable it is. We can put a conservative candidate up there who might not have the flair of a Donald Trump. But by that point, people will be sick to death of flair anyway. They're going to want some substance. We can provide that. So let's let the media get their jollies off on this. Let's let them have their little soiree with Donald Trump. Let's let all of this play out. And then when the American people are sick of it, when the media can no longer play on it because they always overplay their hands, then we come in and we talk substance, just in time for the primaries. Hell, let it play out. If Donald Trump can be the billion-dollar distraction for the media and Barack Obama, then it might just write our ticket to winning in 2012. I know that sounds a little outlandish. I know it sounds kind of 007 and kind of, you know, multi-layer strategy, and you probably think I'm a kook for saying it, but hey, if Trump's going to be on the landscape anyway, and no one's going to be able to stop him, we might as well figure out a way to use it to our advantage rather than to have it used against us. Because we can't stop him. If he wants to talk, let him talk. You know the media is going to go right for it. Let them have their red meat. Let them eat till they're full. Let them eat till they're bloated. And then we will come in, the conservatives, who have no real connection to Donald Trump, no real connection even to the Republican Party. We can come in and be that fresh voice and that fresh outlook that the American people are looking for. Think about it. This is America's Evil Genius. See you next week.